Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/Am I the Borthole? So if you would like to judge some big old gaping bortholes with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. It never gets old introducing Am I the Borthole like that, Just so you know, it never gets old. Okay then, what do we have first today? So, this one was posted by 1egg1316. Am I the Borthole for wanting to advocate against our neighbour's sex offender son moving in? No. Our neighbour's husband passed away a few days ago. My husband and I went over to offer condolences because we had been pretty close with him over the years. During the conversation, his wife mentioned that her son would be moving in with her because he's getting out of prison. Later that day, we looked him up out of curiosity and found out he's a registered sex offender with multiple violations involving minor children. This immediately made us really uncomfortable. We have a young child. There's an elementary school about a mile from our house, and our neighbourhood is full of kids who walk home from school, ride bikes outside, play in the yards, etc. Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. I would be going mental if I found out someone like that was moving in next door to me. Absolutely the hell not. Not a chance. I would make it so uncomfortable for anyone involved with that guy that he would have no choice but to move out. That is disgusting. My husband spoke with her again and asked if she had planned to tell the neighbours about the situation. Her response that her son was framed and that she shouldn't have to tell anyone because she lived in this neighbourhood first and has lived here for years. Yeah, sure he was framed. If I found out one of my kids was doing that as an adult, they would be disowned immediately. I don't care if they were my kids. They would be disowned. That response honestly made us more uneasy because it doesn't sound like she takes the charges seriously or plans to be cautious about the situation. Honestly, it sounds like she's taken a leaf out of the government's book and, Epstein files? Where? Who is in them? Oh, suddenly we are unable to see a thing. At the same time, I feel conflicted. She just lost her husband, so that doesn't mean that she gets to move a pedo in next door, and is probably going through one of the worst times in her life. We were much closer to him than her, but I still feel bad adding stress to her life right now. But I also feel like the safety of the kids in the neighbourhood, including my own, matters more. Yeah, absolutely. He was convicted. He was sent down for it. I'm not being funny. The way that, the governments around the world seem to like to turn a blind eye to this stuff and people get away with it scot-free. Whatever he did must have been absolutely awful and abhorrent. Not that any of it isn't awful and abhorrent. Literally, the tiniest thing of it is awful and abhorrent. But it must have been the worst of the worst, for him to actually get sent down. I'd be telling everyone, all the neighbours, everybody, guess who's moving in next door? Guess what he did? We don't want him moving in next door, but I also realise we probably can't legally stop it. So, am I the Borthole for being upset about this and wanting to tell our other neighbours about this so they can at least be aware? No, not at all. I would be telling everyone in at least a 10-mile radius. That might be a bit dramatic, but I would probably actually, yeah, I would find a way. So, down in the comments, Green Grotto says, you are not the butthole and should inform people. And while you can't block him from moving, I would inform the school as well. And then the OP says, I didn't think about telling the school too. Thank you. And then Flippy Squid says, sex offenders usually have to register their address after getting out of prison and are often restricted from being within distance of schools, daycares, etc. If he gets moved in and isn't listed on the sex offender registry, I'd reach out to the local police and see if they can find out whether he's violating any release conditions or on supervised release. And if he is free and clear to live wherever he wants, they may want to at least have a little more of a presence in the neighbourhood and around the school. It's really concerning that she's adamant that he was framed. Either she won't take steps to protect the local kids, or he lied to her about it and hasn't learned a thing. Come on now, how on earth when he has literally been sent down for it, can she sit there and be like, oh, it was all made up? He was like, he was framed. And how could he lie to her and her believe it when, the proof is there? It's right there, love. Open your flipping eyes. And I know that some people might say, oh, but that's her kid. And, she doesn't want to believe that about her kid. I'm sorry. But when it comes to something that disgusting, I couldn't care less who they were to me. They will not be anywhere near my house and they would be disowned. I do not care. Okay, next post. Majestic16602 says, would I be the asshole if I went to stay with my parents for a couple of weeks because my husband's family planned a 5 to 6 week stay in our two-bedroomed, what? Two-bedroomed, is it two-bedroom house? But what's the K stand for? I don't know. I'm guessing two-bedroom house without asking me. I, 29F, got married in December, less than 3 months as of today, after being with my husband, 29M, for almost 7 years. One thing I've always been very clear about with him, both before and after marriage, is that I need my space and that decisions about people staying in our home should involve both of us. Recently, I found out that his sister, her husband, their child, and my in-laws have all booked tickets to come stay with us. That's about 5 to 6 weeks. I would be more than happy to host them for 1 to 2 weeks, but 5 to 6 weeks seems too overwhelming at this stage. I'm sorry, but 1 to 2 weeks with that many people in my house? Absolutely not. All right, let's count it up. So, sister, husband, their child, and 5 extra people in this 2-bedroom house. I'm assuming that stands for 2-bedroom house for 6 weeks. Absolutely not. 1 to 2 weeks is too much if you ask me. Like, stay for a day and then go home. The part that really upset me is that no one asked me beforehand. I only found out after everything was already booked. Oh yeah, absolutely not. That too, when it was asked that how long they were planning to stay. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment in an extremely hot climate, and this will mean 7 people total in the house in peak summer. My husband will be at work most of the day, so I'll be the one at home with everyone. There are also lifestyle differences. My in-laws are strict vegetarians. They won't even let us make eggs at home. While my husband and I both eat non-veg as a staple diet, I already know I'll have to adjust what I eat at home. Absolutely not. I understand catering to your guests and making sure you have stuff that they can eat, but I am not changing my eating habits. Unless you have a full-blown allergy, then yeah, of course I would. But no, absolutely not in my own home. If I go to your house, I will eat what you want me to eat. Absolutely. If you're cooking vegetarian, vegan, whatever, I'll eat it. Happy to. In my own home, though, I am not changing my own eating habits. I will accommodate yours, but I'm not changing mine. What I wear around the house, and generally how I live for that entire time, no way. What hurts more is that this isn't the first time we've discussed boundaries. For years, my husband told me he understood that I need space and that he would handle these things with his family. This was the one deal breaker from my end, but he always assured me that he would make sure that I never have to be put in situations like this. But when I brought this up again after finding out about the visit, his response was basically, "What do you want me to do? Everything is already booked. How about communicate with your flippin' wife and ask first if she minds for 5 to 6 weeks and don't just randomly invite people around for like a month and a half, you know? That is insane." For context, I also moved away from my own family and friends to live where he works, so this house is pretty much my entire world right now. At this point, I'm honestly feeling really hurt and disrespected. It feels like decisions about my own home were made without me. Mate, it's not feels like, they were made without you. There is no feels like about this. You literally were kept in the dark completely. Your decisions or input was not taken into consideration whatsoever. I'm considering going to stay with my parents for a couple of weeks while they're here just to get some space. But they live on the other side of the country, so it's not a small trip. And I'm not sure spending that much would be financially advisable. Also to add, his parents keep coming to visit us for 7 to 10 days every other month anyways. No, oh my goodness, this just gets worse and worse. This was also not discussed with me, but in good faith I adjusted. How would you handle something like this? How would I handle it? I would put my foot down. I would ring up those family members and I would say, I'm not comfortable with you coming. We don't have enough room for the lot of you. You are overstaying already. You are taking over the whole house. I have to change what I wear, change how I act, change what I eat for, when you're here, and I'm not doing that anymore. If you want to come, you are going to have to accept that I will eat what I eat and you eat what you eat, and that is how it will be. I will wear what I want and I will live how I want. This is my house, not yours. So you are a guest, act like it, basically. But I highly doubt the OP is going to feel comfortable doing that, because I get the feeling that the OP is probably maybe a little bit of a people pleaser, perhaps, because honestly, I would have said something way before now with them coming over every month for 7 to 10 days. No, absolutely not. So down in the comments, and with a very, very apt username, yes, oh hell no, says, as someone who lived in a 2-bedroom for 20 years with my partner, if he sprung all my in-laws on me in this manner, I'd pack all my stuff and get the fuck out. If he can't stand up to the leading parent's entitlement, in my case it would be my mother-in-law, then he would never stand up for me in the first place. I'm feeling vicarious rage for you right now. Clearly not the butthole. Yeah, me too, commenter, me too. Oh my goodness, I feel like the OP's getting walked all over, and I really want them to turn around and be like, at least go and stay with their parents for that time, so they're not basically being turned into a servant for the in-laws, because I feel that that is what's going to happen, especially if the husband is away working all day anyway. So he's invited all these people around and then leaving it to the poor OP to look after them and, entertain them. So the OP then says, I broke down last night and I'm so angry at him. We haven't spoken since. So then room 32A says, that's a normal and healthy response. What you're not changing, you're choosing. Spend the entire time with your family. Tell him that moving forward, his family's visits are a 2 yes, 1 no situation. If they show up without your consent, you will book a hotel or stay with your family. Tell him this is about disrespecting you and his failure to prioritize relationship. Stress that you like his family and that it's his lack of boundaries that is causing this tension. So I did have a look to see if there was an update, and this is all I could find. So Queso Tito says, I'd love to know if you've had any serious conversations with your husband since making this post, and if the visit is still happening. I hope you stay with your parents for the full 5 to 6 weeks. Let him deal with the situation completely. Also, we're all nosy bitches here. Please give us an update if you can. And then the OP said, hey, I did. I'll post an update soon. Lots of things are going on currently. Thank you for your support. And I haven't been able to find an update yet, but we will keep our eyes peeled because I am dying to know how this one went down in the end. I really hope the OP told him where to stick it, at least for the time that his parents were there. I'm not saying I'm hoping the OP just broke up with him off the trot. I'm hoping though that the OP has put their foot down and said, absolutely not, this is not happening anymore. And we're going to have to put in some very strict boundaries for a bit because this is ridiculous. I understand the husband wanting his family to come and stay now and then, but when his family are coming and expecting to take over the home and have all of their rules be now the house's rules, that's not okay. Anyway, let's move on because I'm waffling again. I can feel it. So, next post posted by Sit and Think 86. Am I the butthole for telling my wife that if I waited for her to make memories with our son, we wouldn't have any? Last weekend, I, 39M, helped my son, 14M, dye his hair purple. Love it, love it, love it. Or my good friend who actually knew what he was doing helped dye my son's hair while I was there for music requests and object fetching. Hey, still an important job. It was such a fun day, and I could tell how happy it made my boy. I didn't tell my wife before we did this, and that was the catalyst to the fight that we're currently having. But for me, it's so much more than this one incident. My wife has been hands off with our child for a while now. His soccer games, little road trips to nearby amusement parks, back to school shopping. She's too busy with work or too tired from work, so I've mostly stopped having the conversations. Why would I waste my breath to have the same conversation on repeat? The night we dyed his hair, she started crying while we were talking, saying we were making all of these memories without her. I asked her what she expected me to do. If we waited for her to make memories, we would be sitting in a dark room 100% of the time. My son isn't even really comfortable with her anymore. There is no, I can't take you, go ask your mum. Now it's, I'm sorry, I can't take you. Let me see if friend is free that day. That's so sad. My wife isn't speaking to me now, and I'm wondering if I took it too far. I don't know. I was hoping some brutal honesty would change something. I would have loved having more kids, but I guess it's for the best now that she said no. Edit, I'm a stay-at-home dad. The original plan was for me to start working again when our son went to kindergarten. Kindergarten, not garden. I always pronounce it garden, but that's like a garden. It's garten. Why am I getting stuck on this? Move along, woman. But my wife was gunning for a promotion around that time and asked me to stay at home longer. Once she got the promotion, her hours increased, so that time was extended once again. I am responsible for all the household chores and general homemaking tasks. I cook, clean, do all the yard work, all the grocery shopping, etc. I do enjoy being a stay-at-home dad, but I've been ready and willing to rejoin the workforce for a decade now. At this point, I will be getting a job when my son turns 16 and can get himself to and from school. But my wife still refuses to cut her hours, even if I get a job. See, this is what I was going to say. I was going to say, oh, could the OP maybe up their hours if they were working part-time, or could they maybe take on a job if they weren't? But obviously, the OP is literally given a solution right there, and she's refused to cut her hours. And she gets frustrated every time I bring it up. There is no point in me forcing my son to ride the bus or figure out a ride for himself if my wife still won't make the effort or compromise in order to spend time with him. Now, I don't really know what's going on in the wife's head exactly, but it definitely seems like she's been given ample opportunity to not have to live like this. So I'm not sure why she's acting like the OP is like being outlandish by saying, look, I'm unhappy with this. You're having a go at me saying about missing out on memories, but you never make yourself available to make memories. This isn't something she has to do. This is something she's willingly doing. The OP has offered her solutions and she won't take them. The OP's definitely not the butthole. So Crumpled Spoon says, listen, this could easily be a gender-swapped story. There are so many am I the buttholes about wives who stop trying to artificially create moments for their husbands to be dads. And you are just as not the butthole as they are, exactly. Being a parent is so much more than financial support. It's about emotional presence. You are there for your son, and it hurts him each time your wife has said that she doesn't have time to be there for him, that it now hurts him less to ask. Your son is the priority, not your wife's feelings. She is reaping the consequences of being a parent in finances only. Keep parenting your son, don't hold back your love for him to make her feel less guilty. Not the butthole. Exactly. She is going to have to reap the consequences of not putting her son first, and it honestly sounds like she doesn't want to. Obviously, we've had no real explanation for why from the wife, because the OP's tried to talk to her and she's basically given the silent treatment and told him, oh, you're doing all this without me. Like, mate, you have the opportunity to do stuff with the kid. The OP's giving you opportunities, giving you solutions, and you won't take them. Like, it's really sad that her kid doesn't even want to go to her anymore, and it's just like basically just kind of like written off mum. I suppose. So, update, am I the butthole for telling my wife that if I waited for her to make memories with our son, we wouldn't have any? So, spending more time on Reddit to keep up with political happenings, don't do that. You give yourself anxiety. I made this account a while ago. The divorce should be finalised within the next 2 months. Before filing, I tried to get my soon-to-be ex-wife to attend counselling with me, but she always refused. The only real answer I have in regards to why all this happened was her finally admitting that she cared more about her career than being a wife or a mother. Okay, I mean, makes sense, but it's still crappy that the OP's never got a real answer other than that. I bet that stung a lot, the OP's wife just being like, yeah, I actually care more about my job than you or our kid. How heartbreaking for them must that be? She sounds like quite a bit of a butthole, really, doesn't she? Why have a kid if you don't want to actually care about them or be involved with them? Just don't have one. I honestly can't fathom it. Our original custody agreement was going to be me with primary custody and he'd stay with her every other weekend. That has since changed. My son made it clear that he'd want to speak in court about staying with me full time. So she agreed to that without dragging him into speaking to a judge. That's so heartless. She can come and see him whenever she wants. So far, she has visited once and called him a handful of times. I'm happy to be moving forward for my son's sake. I don't understand my ex at all. I've started going to therapy myself to try and wrap my head around the past few years. Her lack of any sort of motherhood instinct felt like it was bordering on sociopathic. Finally, remember to be kind to stay-at-home parents. I'm not one anymore, but the fact that my last post had to be locked because people were being so ridiculous towards me for that reason alone says a lot. Why? What? Sounds like the OP's been doing an amazing job. What the hell? They have the best job in the world, but also a very hard one. Thank you. Honestly, the internet sometimes is just wild. They will find any reason to be horrible to people, and I honestly think people who have to be negative and nasty to people for no reason, or for a really ridiculous reason, they are just miserable little worms, aren't they, really? The miserable little worms of the internet. This OP's done nothing wrong. They're literally there saying that they are a stay-at-home dad and they're making all these great memories with their kid, and they want to be nasty to him. Why? I don't understand that. I would understand if the OP was, made a post being horrible or something, but yeah, when the person's not being horrible and not doing a damn thing wrong, and then they're just going out their way to be hateful, I never understand that. Strange, isn't it? So, I don't know. Not the butthole. I don't have kids because I never wanted to have to parent a human for the rest of my life. So, when I read about people having kids and then not parenting them or loving them right, it makes me so mad. People are not required to marry and have kids if you cannot do it. Glad you're moving on and continuing to be a good father. Edit, thank you for the rewards. Please stop, keep your money. Yes, exactly. Because I don't think they actually do anything. Acceptable Leg 7998 says, the amount of people who have children without examining if it's what they actually want in life truly boggles my mind. How does it not occur to you that this will be a 24/7 commitment for at least 18 years? I guess some people just want the perfect family photos and they're willing to create literal human beings to achieve that. Now, what I will say is no one ever actually realistically tells you what having a child is going to be like. So you can have this idea of what it's going to be like and then actually turns out it's very different and you were absolutely not prepared for any of it. So yeah, I must say I don't like the rhetoric of when people say, oh, people have kids without thinking about what it's going to be like, and it's like, well, I'm not being funny. Society genuinely tries to completely sugarcoat what being a parent entails and how it's going to feel and, how stressful or non-stressful it's going to be. It's always like, oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing. It's the best thing you'll ever do. You'll never feel love like it. But you never get given the ugly sides. And there is ugly sides of parenting. There is days when you're going to be going, why did I do this? You know? And some people are going to be able to handle that, but some people won't. But at the end of the day, if you decide to have kids, it is on you to look after them and to shoulder that feeling yourself and not impose that onto them. They didn't ask to be here. It is your responsibility then as a parent to make sure that you are doing everything you need to nurture them emotionally, psychologically, which are probably the same thing, but whatever, physically, you know, to make sure they have all of their needs met, not just, I fed them and clothed them, so they're fine. No, that's not how that works. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that's your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al. He likes them, he does. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.